Okay, folks, someone had just told me that our candidate for Secretary of State, Debra Bowen, is here, and there she's coming down the aisle. Yay, Debra! This will get our program off. All right.
We need a new Secretary of State.
Yes, we do. We definitely do. The man that's sitting up there now pretending to be Secretary of State's making some very bad decisions for Riverside County. We need a new person. We need Debra. So I'm going to ask Bob Melch to come back up and introduce Debra Bowen.
Okay, this is a very simple and pleasant task. I had pleasure meeting and talking with Debra at the state convention, and I invited her to Riverside County, and I'm glad that she's here. Debra?
Delighted to be here. The hardest part about campaigning statewide is that California is just so big. It's so big and it's really hard to get every place where you want to be. But, you know, as I was sitting here on the stage and we said the Pledge of Allegiance, I always think when I hear the Pledge of Allegiance, it ends with liberty and justice for all. And that is what we are about right here in this room. Liberty and justice for all. That's the bottom line. I believe in that flag. I believe in our democracy, and I don't believe our democracy will work unless every eligible voter is registered. Every registered voter gets an opportunity to vote without worrying about where their absentee ballot is, and every vote is counted as it was cast. That's what life is. Such simple ideas, but so basic, and there are a lot of ways to screw them up. And, you know, I started this campaign 2 years ago and went out and said to people, I'm running for 2 reasons, Florida and Ohio. And Americans understand what that means. And they understand that the elections have to be fair, open, and honest for everyone, or the whole democracy, we lose faith in our democracy. And we now have young men and women dying on a daily basis, thousands of miles away from here, based on an election that many people feel was not legitimate.
Stolen.
I mean, whether it was stolen or not doesn't matter. You cannot have large numbers of people believing that the outcome doesn't reflect the will of the people and maintain a strong and vibrant democracy. And we are going to change that.
Yeah.
And I'm certain of it. We're going to get rid of all the secrets in the election. No more secret certifications, no more secret software that nobody can see counting the vote, no more vendors representatives having access to voting equipment on election night. No more voting machines doing sleepovers with poll workers before the vote. We're talking about voting machines that you can open with a hotel minibar key. And voting machines that it's been proven that you can change the outcome of an entire election with only access to one voting machine. It can upload a payload. And, you know, this isn't crazy stuff. All of us who work with computers, anybody who's ever used a computer knows it crashes, it won't start, things that run one day don't run the next day. Nasty viruses come in from the outside world, and that's before you have lunch. So we are going to get our elections back to a place where we can verify every single step. And when we do that, we're going to increase turnout because people will really believe that their vote counts. My goal as your next Secretary of State is going restore our faith in the election process, not by putting happy faces on it, but by opening it up so that everybody can see what's inside. And then freeing all the energy that's around election integrity to deal with education, global warming, economic opportunity, scholarships for kids who are doing well in school, second chances for kids who are having a hard time in school, reform of the prison system, something that's been really important to me, which is not charging the families of prisoners at calling card rates when they call home. I have fought against that for years. I want all this energy on election reform going back into energy on the things we care about. But this is fundamental, to have our votes counted. Now, you have a part in this. A week from Tuesday, we're going to send Californians to the polls in a year in which there is going to be an awesome Democratic tidal wave, and we are going to have the first woman speaker in the history of this country. From California, of course. If we want that energy right here in California, we don't have to have a governor who we have to fight to get to sign a minimum wage bill. We don't want to have a governor who signs a global warming bill and then immediately signs an executive order that cuts the legs out from under it. So we're going to get out and one-on-one, one-to-one, talk to people about voting, how important their vote is. And you might remind people that John F. Kennedy won in 1960 by less than a half a vote per precinct. So for anybody who thinks their vote doesn't count, well, if they don't go to the polls, for sure it won't count. So we got to get out and vote, and you all are you will make the difference, because it is one voter and one person at a time. That's democracy at its finest. It's not 30-second TV spots where somebody can say anything, right? Whether it's true or not, and say anything. But it's the influence that you have with your friends, your neighbors, and families. Don't be afraid to tell people who are not political insiders that there are things that you stand for, principles that you stand for, that are on the ballot on November 7th, and that their vote will change the outcome of this state and this country, because California does change the outcome of the country, and we are going to continue to do that. If we have an administration like this, we better change the outcome of what's going on in the country. So it's only a few more days. It's only a few more days. Those of us who are running statewide, we're living on vitamin C and noodle soup and no sleep at all, and a lot of throat lozenges. But we are doing this because we believe in something bigger than ourselves, and you are a part of that. So a huge thank you from me to every one of you who's here today instead of being out at a picnic, who believes enough to take action. And a special thank you to Carl Wood. I'm going to single out Carl because Carl is one of the ways in which having Phil Angelides as governor would make a huge difference. Carl was on the Public Utilities Commission. Carl fought for the rights of, you're going to be shocked here, consumers. People who use cell phones. People who get the bill for electricity. Carl was tireless in fighting for the rights of consumers, as well as to make sure that the utility companies paid their union workers a fair wage. We don't have anybody like Carl on the Public Utilities Commission under this governor. We have a lot of people who say, oh, well, the market will take care of it. The cell phone companies will compete and everybody will have fabulous service. Who has fabulous service from their cell phone company? We need to have Democrats back in office who understand that the big companies and the big corporate forces are going to look out for themselves, and that it's our job to make sure that we look out for the little guy. And Carl, thank you for doing that on the PUC. You and I spent a lot of quality time together. I wish you were there now. Let's go out and get Democrats elected and restore some balance to this democracy of ours.